Good morning. Today my object is a little paper wooden kind of craft that my father-in-law got from Africa, I believe. He always brings back something small to remember his missionary work. He's just got back from Pakistan, I think, and he's in his 70s. So, yay for my father-in-law. This is Exodus 15:23. Now when they came to Mara, they could not drink the waters of Mara, for they were bitter. The waters were bitter. Therefore, the people were bitter. I'm not sure. I think the water. Therefore, the name of it was called Mara, and the people complained against Moses, saying, "What shall we drink?" So this is 3 days later at Mara. And the people are starting to complain. What should we drink? To Moses. So he cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree. "God, what shall we drink?" says Moses. "Here's some sweet water for you." So here's a tree and some water's coming from it. "I am the Lord who heals you." Exodus 15:23-26. So God provided water in the desert or wilderness. The Lord showed him a piece of wood. He threw it into the water, and the water became fit to drink. Exodus 15:23. So there's Moses throwing a piece of wood in, and the water becomes good to drink. I should have a cup right here to say it's good to drink. Elim. So they camped there by the waters. Exodus 15:27. So there's everybody camping, and I think there were 12 water wells and 70 palm trees. So that's where they camped. Exodus 15. Then they came to Elim, and I did read the Bible twice and doodled or sketched. They came to Elim where there were 12 wells of water and 70 palm trees, so they camped there by the water. So 12 wells of water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And there they are camping. And there's 70 palm trees. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. And here it is in smaller form. Exodus 16. And they journeyed from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai. Then the whole congregation of the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said to them, "Oh, that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the pots of meat and when we ate bread to the full. For you have brought us out into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger." So the people are complaining. "Oh, that we were back in Egypt." And the complaints are going to Moses and Aaron. And they're in the wilderness of Sin. They're in Sinai and Elim. "Oh, that we had died by the hand of God back there." So they're remembering and complaining. Remembering negatively. "When we sat by the pots of meat and ate bread to the full." And she's got a little full stomach. "For you have brought us out into the wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger." So, hey, Moses, you brought us out here. Let's go to kill us by hunger. That's not true. Exodus 16:4. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you." So here's bread coming down from heaven. It's a little surrealistic, but that's okay. I like surrealism. "The people are to go out each day and gather enough for that day. The Lord has given you the Sabbath Therefore he gives you on the 6th day bread for 2 days. So first day is manna, the name of the bread. Second day is manna, 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 manna. 6th day, double manna. And then on the 7th day is a day of rest, so no manna. Or manana is our friend's name. Exodus 16:11. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, I have heard the complaints of the children of Israel. At twilight, when it becomes night, you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread, and you shall know that I am the Lord your God. So it was that quails came up at evening and covered the camp. So this is a California quail. I don't know if that's what the quails look like over there in the wilderness near Egypt. So the quails came up at evening and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay all around the camp. And when the layer of dew lifted, there on the surface of the wilderness was a small round substance, as fine as frost, on the ground. So when the children of Israel saw it, they said to one another, What is it? For they did not know what it was. And Moses said to them, This is the bread which the Lord has given you to eat. So here's a quail at twilight. And then when the day comes, in the morning, when the water is on the ground, there is a small round substance as fine as frost. Frost is a little bit of ice, not snow, but it's a little bit frosty, just a little bit icy. So the people said, What is it? And Moses said to them, This is the bread which the Lord has given you to eat. So eat what is set before you. And Moses said, Let no one leave it till morning. Exodus 16:19. But some of them left it till morning, and it bred worms. So they left the bread, and it did get worms in it. And the house of Israel called its name manna, or manna. And it was white, like white coriander seed, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey, like light bread. Exodus 16:31. So I guess they had this for 40 years. So it was like wafers with coriander seed. And the children of Israel ate manna 40 years until they came to an uninhabited land. They ate manna until they came to the border of the land of Canaan. Exodus 16:35. So there are the people of Israel eating manna until they come to Canaan. The border, the edge of the land is Canaan, the property. So they ate it for 40 years. That's a long time. Exodus 17. Then all the congregation of the children of Israel set out on their journey from the wilderness of Sin, according to the commandment of the Lord, and camped in Rephidim, but there was no water for the people to drink. Therefore the people contended with Moses, that means to fight, and said, Give us water that we may drink. So there was no water, and they left the wilderness of Sin. Give us water so that we may drink. And Moses says, Why do you contend with me? Why do you tempt the Lord? Why are you fighting? They camped in Rephidim. Camping is like get a tent and eat out in the wilderness. And the people thirsted there for water, and the people complained against Moses and said, Why is it that you have brought us up out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst? So we're all thirsty, why did you bring us out to kill us and our livestock with thirst? So Moses cried out to the Lord, What shall I do with this people? They are about ready to stone me. This is the first time we talked about stoning somebody or throwing rocks at him. And we're going to die from thirst. So Moses cried out to the Lord. And the Lord said to Moses, here's the king with the crown, Go on before the people and take with some of the elders of and take with you some of the elders of Israel. Also, take in your hand your rod which you struck the river, and go. Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock in Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and water will come out of it, that the people may drink. So they went to Massah and Meribah, the people and the elders, and Moses struck the rock in Horeb, and water came out. So, miracle of water. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. So he called the name of the place Massah and Meribah, because of the contention of the children of Israel, and because they tempted the Lord, saying, is the Lord among us or not? So that's kind of how we are. We're like, is he here or not? Where is God? And he is here, Emmanuel. Exodus 17:8. Now Amalek came and fought Israel in Rephidim. So here's Amalek, and Joshua and Israel are fighting in Rephidim. And Moses said to Joshua, choose us some men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of God in my hand. So Moses told Joshua to go fight with Amalek, or however you say his name. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing it. And he'll go stand on the hill with the rod of God. And so it was, when Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed. And when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands became heavy. So they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. And Aaron and Hur supported his hands. Would that be Ben-Hur? I don't know. So Joshua defeated Amalek. Exodus 17:9 through 13. His people with the edge of the sword. So Joshua defeated Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. So when Moses' hands are up, Israel prevails. When Moses' hands are down, Amalek prevails, or does better, or wins. Hur and Aaron help Moses. We'll help you. I'm tired. Sit down, Moses. And Joshua killed Amalek and his people. I like this picture. And his hands were steady till the going down of the sun. So the going down of the sun, Moses' hands were steady, and they won or prevailed. They were on the hill here with Aaron and Hur helping him. Then the Lord said to Moses, write this for a memorial in the book, and recount it in the hearing of Joshua, that I will utterly blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. So God tells Moses to write this as a remembrance in a book. So got to remember it. Recount it in the hearing of Joshua, that I will blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. And Moses built an altar and called its name, the Lord is my banner. Or it's kind of like a sign. And an altar is gathering wood and rocks and lighting a fire to the Lord. Because the Lord has sworn, the Lord will have war with Amalek. So I need to correct that because I'm not sure what that means. Let's do one more page. Exodus 18. And Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard of all that God had done for Moses and Israel, his people. So there's Jethro, and he heard all that God had done. Wow. Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and wife. So Moses went out to meet his father-in-law, bowed down and kissed him, and they asked each other about their well-being. So Jethro brought Moses' wife and children, Gershom and Eleazar. And Jethro says, "Son-in-law, here's your family." And Moses bows to the father-in-law, and they kiss, which was a cultural thing back there, over there and back then. And they went into the tent, and Moses told his father-in-law all that the Lord had done to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Israel's sake, all the hardship that had come upon them on the way, and now the Lord had delivered them. So they're sitting down in the tent, and Jethro says, "How are you doing, Moses?" And he says, "Great. The Lord has done so much. There have been many hardships and many triumphs." Jethro was delighted to hear about all the good things the Lord had done for Israel. Exodus 18:9. "Praise be to the Lord," says Jethro, sitting with Moses. Exodus 18:13. "And so it was on the next day that Moses sat to judge the people, and the people stood before Moses from morning to evening." So the next day Moses sat to judge the people from morning to evening. "Moses, help me, my wife. Moses, help. Please judge us." So when Moses' father-in-law saw all that he did for the people, he said, "What is this thing that you are doing for the people? Why do you alone sit and all the people stand before you from morning until evening?" So Jethro sees what's going on and talks to Moses about it. "The thing that you do is not good. You will wear yourselves out. For this thing is too much for you. You can't perform it by yourself." So Moses is so tired, and Jethro says, "You can't do this by yourself. You got to get help. Select from all the people able men, such as fear God, men of truth, hating covetousness or possession, greediness, and place such over them to be rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of 10s." So Moses is going to get leaders for the rulers of thousands, and a ruler of hundreds, ruler of 50s, and rulers of 10. Let other people judge. Let them judge the people at all times, so it will be easier for you, for they will bear the burden with you. So these are some scales. Exodus 18:27. Then Moses let his father-in-law depart or leave, and he went his way to his own land. Moses says, "Goodbye and thank you." Jethro says, "Goodbye," and he goes back to his own land. In Exodus 19, in the 3rd month after the children of Israel had gone out of the land of Egypt, on the same day they came to the wilderness of Sinai and camped in the wilderness. So Israel camped there before the mountain. I need to fix that. So the 3rd month after they had left. 1st month, 2nd month, 3rd month, maybe January, February, March, I don't know. They came to the wilderness of Sinai, and they camped there. And Moses went up to God, and the Lord called to him from the mountain. Moses goes up to God. God's on the mountain. "Tell the children of Israel, I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself." Exodus 19:4. So God brought the Israelites on eagle's wings. "And the Lord said to Moses, Behold, I came to you in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak to you, and believe you forever." And he says, "Okay." So Moses went down from the mountain and sanctified the people. They washed their clothes. And we'll do the 10 Commandments and finish. Exodus 19:16. And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunderings and lightnings and a thick cloud on the mountain, and the sound of the trumpet was very loud, so that all the people who were in the camp trembled. Moses brought people out of the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. So there they are, a thick cloud on the mountain, and lightning and thunder like a trumpet. Very loud. And Aaron and Moses, I think, go up to meet God. And the people who were in the camp trembled. Oh, I'm trembling and shaking. This is incredible. And Mount Sinai with the border. Exodus 20. And God spoke all these words, saying, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of bondage. So that's a thick cloud. You shall have no other gods before me, only one God. You have no carved images. Carved is with a knife, and you make like an idol, like a man or a cow. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Don't use his name frivolously or silly. Oh my God, we want to say, I always say gosh or something like that. Remember the Sabbath day. Seventh day is a time to rest. Honor your mother and father. Yes, mother. Yes, father. Treat them well. You shall not murder. Don't kill anybody. This guy's got a knife and stabbing him. Do not commit adultery. So the marriage is holy. Do not bring other people into it. Don't sleep with anybody except your husband or wife. And do not steal. That's not yours, and you're stealing it anyways. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Don't lie about them. He did such and so. Don't lie about your neighbor. And don't covet. Don't be greedy. I want this and that, and I want that. Do not covet your neighbor's house. Do not covet your neighbor's wife. Do not covet his ox. Do not covet his donkey. Do not covet his male servant or want. Do not want his female servant, nor anything that is in his neighbor's. And I put a little card there. His neighbor's what? I got to change that. Exodus 21:22. If men fight and hurt a woman with a child, and any harm follows, you shall give. So if the woman's pregnant and gets hurt, if two men fight and the woman gets hurt, and if any harm follows, do an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, hand for a hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. So whatever the problem is, you give them that problem back. But New Testament is different. So we will start on this next time.